In the forgotten forest village of Idu, even silence had a sound. Every morning, the river hummed a soft melody, a song they called the Singing River. They believed it chose who would prosper each year. If it sang louder near someone's hut, fortune would follow a great harvest or a healthy newborn. The people were cheerful and obsessed with signs. A rooster crowing twice meant rain. 3 times a wedding. If it didn't crow at all, everyone ran to the river, begging for forgiveness. One misty morning, everything changed. A group of children playing by the river screamed. Floating near the reeds was something glittering. When they got closer, they saw her, a woman with a fishtail. Her long hair was tangled in vines, her skin shone like wet glass, and her eyes held the power of the river. The children ran back shouting, "There's a woman in the river, a woman with a tail." Soon the whole village gathered. Even Chief Odolo, whose belly entered a room before he did, stared in awe. "She's no woman," he declared. "She is the river's daughter." They gently carried her to the riverside shrine. From that day, the river's hum grew louder, as if singing her name. They called her Aluaneni, the gift of the gods. And truly, she was. With Oluwani's arrival, Idu transformed fishermen's nets became so heavy, children had to help drag them ashore. Cassava grew thicker than a man's arm. Goats gave birth to twins, and barren women began to swell with child, singing praises to the river. Aluanene became the heart of the village. She couldn't walk on land for long, but she loved sitting on a smooth rock by the water. Children gathered around her, listening to her strange songs that made the river shimmer. When she laughed, fish leaped from the water as if dancing. Chief Odolo proudly claimed her arrival was a reward for his great leadership. "The river knows its people," he'd boom, slapping his chest. But not everyone was happy. Mama Eri, the sharp-tongued fishmonger, lost customers. "A fish with a woman's face cannot feed the village forever," she grumbled. Only Maka, the quiet storyteller, looked at the mermaid with wonder, not greed. He sat by her side, asking where she came from, what she missed, what she feared. She never answered directly, but her songs were like memories of a world deep below, where light floated like smoke and time moved like waves. For a while, Idu was a paradise, but no one noticed that the river had stopped singing. And deep below, where light couldn't reach, something began to stir. The contentment in Idu didn't last. Soon, the people wanted more. Farmers demanded longer rains, traders wanted faster harvests. The villagers came to the riverside daily, and though Oluwanen smiled, she was growing weary of their endless demands. Each blessing seemed to take something from her. Her glow began to dim, her voice grew hoarse. One evening, she said softly, "The river gives what it can carry. If you take too much, the river will break." But they didn't understand. Chief Odolo stepped forward. "The gods gave you to us, Oluwaneni," he boomed. "Surely they didn't send you here to rest. You owe this village your gift." The crowd roared in agreement. Oluwani's eyes filled with sadness. The next morning, she refused to grant any wishes. That's when the gossip started. "She's hiding her powers," said Mama Airy. "She's saving her magic for someone else," another muttered. The love the village had for her curdled into suspicion and hatred. Among the villagers was a lazy, unlucky man named Tumba. His nets were torn, his canoe had sunk, and his wife had left him. One moonlit night, with an empty stomach and a bitter heart, he went to the river. "Aluaneni," he called out. "If you can bless fools and thieves, at least bless one honest man." He heard a faint sob. It was Aluaneni weeping quietly on a rock. As her tears rolled down her cheeks and fell into the river, they shimmered like drops of light. When one tear splashed onto Tumba's arm, it burned for a second, then turned into gold dust. He couldn't believe his eyes. He waited until she slipped back into the water, then ran home. His hut glittered with flakes of gold. "The mermaid's tears," he cried, laughing. "Her tears made me rich." The next night, he returned with a plan. He told Aluaneni sad stories of a mother dying, a child he never had, the villagers' mockery. She wept silently with each tale, and Tumba quietly collected her tears in a bottle. At home, they turned to solid gold. Soon his neck was heavy with gold beads, and he feasted on roasted meat. When asked about his new wealth, he'd just smile and say, "The river finally remembered me." But secrets are like smoke. They never stay still. One night, two mischievous twins saw Tumba kneeling before the mermaid, telling a sad story. They watched as her tears fell into his calabash and hardened into gold. By dawn, they were shouting in the market, "Tumba is making the mermaid cry. He's turning her tears to gold." Soon, the whole village was buzzing. That night, Mama Airy hid behind a tree and saw it for herself. The next morning, she stormed into Chief Odolo's compound, shouting, "Tumba is hoarding the river's blessing. He makes the river's daughter cry for gold." That evening, the village stood at the riverbank. When the mermaid saw them, she backed away, frightened. But Chief Odolo raised his staff. "If her tears bring gold," he declared, "then she must cry for us all." They trapped her in a large wooden cage. At first, they begged. Then they mocked her. When she still wouldn't cry, they pinched and whipped her until tears rolled down her face. The drops hit the sand and hardened into gold nuggets. The crowd went wild, scooping up the gold like madmen. Overnight, IDU transformed. Women rubbed gold dust on their faces. Men wore golden beads. Even the humble huts gleamed, crusted with golden flakes. But by the river, the mermaid lay motionless in her cage, her bright eyes now dull, her scales faded. The water around her looked dark and sick. No one noticed. They were too busy counting their gold. Only Marka, the storyteller, felt something was wrong. "The river has stopped singing," he told the celebrating crowd, but no one listened. "The river is resting from blessing us." Laughed Chief Odolo, "Let it rest while we dance." So they danced with their golden faces and their golden hearts, consumed by a golden madness. That night, the river, dark and silent, watched them like a predator, and deep below, where no light could reach, something ancient and vengeful began to stir. The tragedy that followed would serve as a reminder that greed is a hunger that can never be satisfied. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more.